Hi, this is Mike Windsor at Main Street Coach, and the purpose of this video is to be pre-event training for any event you might be attending coming up. Now, the subject of this video is really the Main Street Free Enterprise Summit coming up that I'm incredibly excited about, but the truth is you could use this training for any networking event you've got coming up, whether it's a Main Street Heroes breakfast or a smoke out here in town or a chamber event, anything you're going to where you're going to have an opportunity to meet other business owners or potential prospects. This training is designed to help you to maximize your attendance at that event. Now, you can just attend, you can just go, you can show up, but you're not really reaping the benefits of that event if you're not intentionally doing what's necessary to maximize it. In this training, I'm going to be covering what actually is a network hub. I'm going to be explaining to you the concept of how you personally become a hub and build a network around you. We're going to go through the concept of circulation, which is foundational to that, and 3 magic questions. These questions arm you to be in a position to give, which is really what you want to do. That's the framework from which you want to operate as a network hub, and I'll be explaining that. And then the reverse of those is the 3 magic answers. If you know the right questions to ask, you also know the right way to answer questions that get to that same content to the listener. And then we're going to cover building your wheel. You are the hub, the center of this network, and how do you build it out? I want to start by framing your mindset. I want you to come into this process being very, very conscious of how you're thinking and how you're viewing this material. So one of my favorite quotes is a quote by George Bernard Shaw, which is, "The greatest problem of communication is the illusion that it has been accomplished." A lot of times we think you said what I thought you said, or that you understood that I meant that, and it's only later that we discover we didn't understand one another. It's really important to understand that as you approach networking, that the goal really is clarity. And to avoid the problem of communication, we have to avoid the illusion that it's been accomplished and really check ourselves to make sure we really understand what the other person is saying, which is paramount, and then also secondarily that we're understood. But really we want to make sure we're understanding the other person. For a lot of us, as we approach networking events, if we tend to be a bit of a wallflower or a little bit intimidated, if I just attended an event earlier today where there were about 500 people in the room and there were lots and lots and lots of folks that I don't know. It's really easy to gravitate off to a corner with a friend or two and sit and quietly talk and miss the opportunity. And so this quote speaks to that for me, and I hope you appreciated it. It really is it has broad application. I love this quote, and it's worth sharing even if it doesn't apply, but I think it does apply as we approach the concept of networking. And that is, Teddy Roosevelt said that the credit belongs to the man or woman who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who knows the great enthusiasms, the great devotion, who spends him or herself in a worthy cause, who at best knows in the end the triumph of high achievement, and who at worst, if he fails, at least fails while daring greatly, so that his place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who have never tasted victory nor defeat. I challenge you as we approach this topic of networking to dare greatly. When you have an opportunity to get to know other folks, to put yourself in a position of service, to become a resource to a wider range of people, as we'll talk about through this training, I challenge you to dare greatly and to not fall into that trap of being one of those cold and timid souls who's never tasted victory nor defeat. Dare greatly. Then the last quote that I want to cover, that really any networking event that you attend, again, whether it's the chamber or if it's even internally within your own office, a group of people together creates a mastermind. Napoleon Hill, who's very famous for having written the book Think and Grow Rich, after interviewing hundreds of the wealthiest people of his day, reached the conclusion that a mastermind was key to their wealth. And a mastermind, he says, is the harmonious alliance of two or more minds that create a friendly environment to gather, classify, organize new information for fast and effective implementation. So the key here is fast and effective implementation. If you have an event coming up in the next week or two, and for goodness sakes, if you're coming to the Free Enterprise Summit, I encourage you to be very, very focused, to be steadfast in your drive to implement what I'm teaching here, and to implement in a context of harmonious alliance. If you can really grasp the harmonious alliance of other minds that work together in a friendly environment, boy, you can really have fast and effective implementation. So, moving into the core of the subject here, what is a network hub? Well, this is my definition of a network hub, is someone who seeks to add value to his or her client by forming relationships with related product or service providers in the best position to offer additional solutions to his or her client. A network hub becomes a trusted resource to his or her clients and constantly looks for opportunities to refer them to other business owners within his or her circle of influence. Bottom line, short answer, a network hub is a win-win magnet. So what you seek to become as you go to these events as the person, a point of influence that looks for opportunities where you're constantly looking for resources. You've got in the back of your head, you've got the questions of the other business owners, the other prospects and clients that you've met along the way. How can I, as I look across this room, not just solve my problems, but the problems of those people who are dear to me? As we discuss this topic, it's important to understand the concept of circulation and how incredibly important it is. Over on the left, you see a picture of a building. It may be hard to make out there, but that's a depiction of a building's air circulation system. And I thought it was interesting as I was looking for illustrations of the idea of circulation that a building came up in my search, and I thought, wow, what a great example. Circulation is everywhere in the building. Of course, the body there, our circulatory system with our blood, and of course money. Boy, today more than ever we are acutely aware that our economy is absolutely dependent on the circulation of money, and money is exchanged for goods and services, and you can see it whipping around through that cycle there as it moves from person to person and circulates through. And another example of circulation is an ecosystem. You see I've got the animals depicted there, how they rely one on another, and if you pull one important animal out of the chain, it can wreak havoc on an ecosystem. And so what's the point of all these circulation diagrams? It's simply this. Whether it's your body, whether it's money, whether it's an ecosystem, if there is not circulation, there is death. You ever gone to a big say maybe a chamber event? I don't want to pick on the chamber. They're not don't uniquely have this problem. In fact, here in Boise, Idaho, we have a great chamber. But if you've ever been to sort of an old, stale environment where not a whole lot is really happening, and you kind of scratch your head and go, is it worth it to go to this thing? Well, the problem is circulation. Without adequate circulation, any body dies, and that applies